Well, hello. Time for another drawing video. Today we're going to draw a character from a children's book illustrated by the name of Rob Biddulph. Rob Biddulph. Got a very cute little sloth saying hello. Everybody loves sloths. They're very slow and they just kind of hang upside down. Except we're not going to go slow. We're going to do this sloth fast. Paper, pencil, eraser, let's go. It doesn't really matter, horizontal, vertical, turn your paper whichever way you want. I've got mine horizontal, but he's about the same size both ways, so I think we're good. You want to draw lightly because there's not a lot of parts to this, but the parts that we have are they're like some very long curvy lines. So draw lightly just in case. I'm going to start toward, not all the way at the top of my paper, but toward the top of my paper, kind of in the middle. I don't think I'm in the middle, but it doesn't matter if you're in the middle. I'm sort of in the middle, I guess. I need a little bit more room on this side because he's waving with his hand, but not too much. So if you want to put that line in the middle, you'll be fine. So I'm going to sort of make like, kind of like a big oval, but the bottom of the oval is flat. Okay, I don't want to call it a circle because it's not really a circle. So nice and lightly, I'm going to draw a nice big, well, I'm not going to draw lightly, but you are. So maybe we'll just do one part at a time, right? So I got a nice curve on that side, and I'll try to match it over on this side. So right now, it looks like it's going to be a circle, but we're going to flatten that out at the bottom. Now, it's flat down here, but it's not pointy on the corners. So we're going to curve, going to make a curved line, and then we can flatten it out on the bottom. So it's kind of like a circle that somebody just flattened at the bottom. So that's about the shape that we're looking for. Round, flat. And that's his whole face. Now I'm going to do the body on the outside, and then we'll start working on the inside with the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the eyebrows and stuff like that. So I'm going to go just a little bit above my shape, and right in the middle, he's got some little hairs sticking up. So you can do as many little hairs as you want, little triangles, kind of look like a little tuft of grass. A little bit growing that way, a little bit growing that way. And then I'm going to connect. I'm going to leave a little bit of space, but I'm going to try to follow this curve. I'm going to follow this curve all the way down. Try to leave the same amount of space. And once I get to the bottom of where this shape is, I'll stop there for now. We'll try to do the same thing on the other side. On this side, I'm going to stop a little below this line, but I'm not going to go all the way down because his hand is going to go there. So there's no sense drawing the line, and then we just have to erase it anyway. On this side, on the left side, I can go all the way down, straight down. It's a very simple, cartoony looking sloth. Right now it looks like a fingernail. Okay? Now, we're going to go right in the center of that shape. Find the middle of the first shape we made, right there. And we're going to make a nice little I'll call it an oval because it's not exactly a circle. It's a little bit longer than it is high, so it's an oval. Inside that oval will be a smaller oval toward the top. Right? That's his nose. And then right underneath that, we have a mouth, and we'll put a little line connecting the nose and the mouth. I'm going to leave a little circle inside for reflection. So it looks like his nose is shiny. I'm going to color my nose in because I've got the black marker. You're going to wait and do that a little bit later. You know what? I think I want to put my reflection in the middle. I always look in the iPad to see if I like it or not. Because when I look here, it looks very different the way it looks there. I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. You can make this reflection whatever size you want. Looks good. Looks good. Now, a sloth has kind of like a mask on, kind of like a raccoon. It goes around his eyes and then it curls down. So those are the shapes we're going to make right now. So what I'm going to do is right next to that little snout, I'm going to draw half of a circle. It doesn't touch my snout, but it sort of does come close. So I'm going to draw half a circle on that side, and then I'm going to draw half a circle over on this side. Kind of like a forwards letter C and a backwards letter C. Half of a circle. Now, I'm going to continue the shape over, and then it's going to curve down pretty much right to the corner of that very first shape that we made. So I'm going to go over and down, and I'll do this side too, over. Notice how the end of those two lines curve. They don't just go straight in, they curve. And then we'll try to do the same thing on the other side. I gotta look in my iPad to see if I like it. I think this one needs to go a little bit lower. Not too bad. And now his eyes are going to go right inside those shapes. So we're going to draw a nice big circle that almost fills up that whole first curve that we made. It's kind of fits perfectly right in there because we made half circles, so now this is a whole circle. So it fits really good right there at the end of each one of those curves. Then inside that, we've got a little small pupil. I'm going to color mine in. You're not going to do that yet because you're probably not using a black marker right now. Now he's starting to look like a sloth. Okay? And then we've got some eyebrows. His eyebrows are way up here. They're just kind of like two little caterpillars. Now he looks a little surprised. Okay. Now I'm going to put his hand right over here because he's giving a nice little wave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right where this line stopped. And it doesn't really matter. That line can stop here, can stop a little lower. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw kind of like a rectangle that goes right down off the page. And the top of my rectangle is a little bit rounded. It's not really pointy. And that's his little arm. Then on the side, he's got these long toes. And there's one on the side right there. And he has 3 on top. One, 2, 3. Ta-da! Now in the picture, and if you want him saying something, you could put a little word bubble in there if you want. If you look in the picture, the illustrator tried to make it look like he has fur. So if you're doing this with watercolor, you could always do a lot of these little lines with a brown marker and then watercolor light brown or tan around it to give you some fur. If you're doing it with colored pencils, you could do some of these lines very, very dark and then lightly color around it with a lighter or a different color, lighter colored pencil. Kind of gives the indication of fur. You're probably not going to want to do this with a Sharpie, but I don't have a brown dry erase marker. So you could just kind of do fur like that. The eyebrows are dark brown. This little pattern on his face is dark brown. His snout is dark brown. Pupils black. Nose is black. If you want to leave a little reflection in there, you can. And then his fingers or toes, they are dark brown. And then the rest of them is a lighter brown. The lines of the fur, I won't do the whole thing, but in the picture there's lots of lines because a sloth is covered with fur. So you could just kind of do some scratchy lines with marker or colored pencil or even crayon. And then you can go over top of that with a lighter brown. And that way it will give the look of some texture, some fur. So, and in the face, he has a little bit of coloring on the face. You could leave the face white. You could do it a very, very light peachy or tan color if you want. And then some dark fur, and then maybe some light color behind it. And if you want to do a word bubble, like I said, you can certainly do that if you want. He's saying be kind. And if you want to put a background in there, okay, feel free. You could do a jungle in there. You could have vines hanging down. Maybe he's hanging out in the rainforest. Oh, you can do whatever you want. And you Google and see where sloths live. You can do whatever kind of background you want. That's it. Simple drawing. Cute little sloth. until we meet again, adios.